Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Amber Akilla. This is my YouTube channel slash podcast, Friend Crush with Amber Akilla on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where I talk about cute, chaotic, and critical thinking, and we're in the business of being hot and having fun, my life philosophy. I hope everyone's doing well. I just got back to Shanghai after 3, almost 4 weeks in Perth, Western Australia, my hometown. I'm looking very tan. I don't know if you can tell, but I had, a nice time chilling by the beach. I got back yesterday afternoon and I went out today, and I feel like I saw more people in 1 hour than I did in 3 weeks back in Perth. But that's just, the contrast and the spectrum of my experience, where I'm from versus where I choose to live. Today's topic is what I think real baddie behaviour entails. Everyone sort of has like a mental association with this term, and a certain type of look comes to mind. And this is going to vary person to person, and this is just my interpretation, my way of trying to communicate ideas around self-empowerment in sort of like a contemporary, chronically online language. You could say there's a spectrum between being a baddie and being a pick-me. This is a spectrum, and we exist in different places on the spectrum. We move along the spectrum, and it's about having an awareness of your personal spectrum, okay? Your personal capabilities of moving along here, and where you want to sit at any given point in time, okay? Or where you actually are sitting versus where you want to be sitting. For me, being a baddie is not just about an aesthetic, it's also an attitude. Being empowered, feeling confident in who you are, feeling confident in your appearance, being able to assert yourself, being able to communicate authentically, connect authentically, to be treated with respect, and to treat others with respect. These are just some of the connotations that come up for me when I define being a baddie. And I think the one thing that is really important that's often overlooked is your ability to manage confrontation. Being a baddie is not about there's nothing wrong in my life, I've never experienced challenge, everything is just easy peasy. It's in spite of any challenges that come my way, I'm gonna get through this. I don't care if I have to claw my way through, but I'm gonna get what I want and I'm gonna move towards my goals, even if my goal is just being hot and having fun. Even if it's not like a material thing that I'm trying to achieve, and it's just a general vibe I want to maintain in my life, I'm gonna claw through regardless. And I'm gonna do it looking good, and I'm gonna do it in a way that allows me to maintain respect for myself and respect from others, and to hold on to my dignity. That's being a baddie. So this video, I'm gonna focus on how to be non-reactive, or how to choose how you respond to being triggered or certain challenges that come your way. I don't think that my approach is for everyone. Some people prefer to just be agreeable, and I definitely believe in the power of being agreeable to a degree. Okay, there's people pleasing, and then there's having self-respect, and then there's being unnecessarily difficult and rude. So again, another spectrum. We need to identify our place on, and we can also choose to move along this spectrum. When you skew too far towards people pleasing, having self-respect and being able to say no to bullshit that's not your responsibility can feel like you're being rude. You know what I mean? Because you've gone from one extremity and you're trying to move towards a neutral point. That can feel really violent at times. Sometimes you need to find this middle ground, or maybe even swing and overcorrect to the other end of the spectrum so that you can find the middle ground. But don't feel like every response that you have and every part of this process is going to be perfect, okay? It's an exploration, data collection, and you find an area that you're comfortable in that also allows you to progress. Find comfort in the discomfort that comes with growth, not comfort that comes in the discomfort of familiarity, okay? It can feel the same, but they're different. What I've realized as I've gotten older is that success is not the absence of failure, is not the absence of challenges. It's your ability to overcome them. How badly do you want the thing that you think that you want, or that you're getting frustrated in the pursuit of. Because sometimes the frustration is an indication that you should do something else, and other times the frustration is an indication that you actually care about what you're doing and you should keep going. And only you can know the true answer to that, right? As I have progressed in my life journey and in my career, I am very grateful for all the different challenges that I experienced at the early stages of my career, because they have set me up to be able to handle challenge and bullshit with a level of detachment that means I'm not taking everything as personally as I would when I was younger. And it also means that I can just embrace the challenge as it comes, and I can handle it in a much more mature way than when I was younger. So yeah, success is not just the person who's the most gifted or the person that's the most connected. It's the person who doesn't give up, because there are plenty of people who have lots of connections and aren't able to mobilize them for their success, or people that have really great talent and aren't able to be disciplined enough to harness their talent. And there are also people that are just lucky to be surrounded by people that can enable and protect them from challenge in the pursuit of success too. But at the end of the day, it's about figuring out what situation you're in, what cards have you been dealt, and how can you play them in a way that allows you to progress and move forward and grow and slay, basically. Don't compare yourself to other people. Yes, maybe this person is luckier than you, or maybe that person is less lucky than you, but who are you? What do you want? And how can you get it? And how can you do that while also having a positive impact on the world around you? Okay, that is sort of the key, in my opinion, at this moment in time. Further from that, let's give an example. Say you're being provoked by someone. I often get questions from girls asking me about how to deal with a difficult coworker or a difficult friend, someone that's always poking at you, okay, trying to put you down, trying to be passive aggressive, trying to get a reaction out of you. At first, I can totally understand why you would feel defensive, why this would be uncomfortable, why you would feel like you have to justify yourself to this person or get them to understand you. Let go of that illusion, okay? There is no room for understanding at this point. You need to compare these kinds of interactions with the healthy interactions and relationships that you have, where there isn't this kind of tension and underlying toxicity. When I talk to people that I love who love me, we just talk. There's no, what do I say next? Why are they saying that? Can I say this? Can I say that? It's just, we're kikiing, okay? Obviously, you need to maintain healthy boundaries, but it doesn't feel difficult to do that when the connection makes sense. And there isn't like a crazy dopamine hit either in comparison to when you're being love bombed and there's like no real reality for you to have this type of excitement over a person that you don't even know. Again, another spectrum. I think real baddie behavior is getting to a point where you've processed your emotions and you've recognized the part of you that is being triggered. And rather than feeling like you need to express your emotions to them and have them validate them in order for them to stop, you process it yourself and you give them nothing. Non-reactivity and detachment is the key. You're coming from fundamentally different points of view when you're dealing with someone who is just looking for a reaction out of you and just looking for attention from you without any consideration of the quality of that attention, okay? But your energy is going to be expended regardless. So expend it in a way that is beneficial to you and not beneficial to them if they haven't done anything to earn that, okay? Being mean to you is not a reason for you to give someone your attention. So there are two approaches. The first is having a sense of humor, being able to laugh it off. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, could you tell me more about that? Oh, why do you think that was an appropriate thing to say? This is a little bit more on the attack side, and you kind of have to be quick-witted if you want to be able to like tit for tat with someone who is trying to poke at you. So I wouldn't recommend this as your first approach unless you're feeling really confident. The second approach is just indifference and silence. This is also really difficult, but there's less at stake when you haven't said anything. They can't catch you up on something that you've said if you just said nothing, if you just didn't reply. Learning to grey rock, which is when you just sort of act indifferent or sort of passive in a way that doesn't encourage that person to keep poking at you. It kind of catches them off guard and makes you a less interesting target for them. Being able to just be like, oh, okay, walking away, or not even engaging with them. Being able to walk so confidently that that person becomes afraid of you. That is a flex. When someone pisses you off or tries to test you to a point where you can literally like create a shield around your energy so that when you pass by them, they feel cold, okay? They feel empty. That's the reaction that you should be giving people that try to test you. Look, this isn't for everyone. This is just my approach. Those are the two potential approaches in my opinion. Be prepared for either response you have to trigger anger in them. So you also have to be careful and mindful of your safety, okay? I'm not telling you to like go out there and start fights. I generally believe in the principle of nonviolence in the sense that I'm not looking to attack anyone, okay? I don't go out of my way to anger others or to trigger other people, but that doesn't mean that I'm not ready if someone is trying to act violent towards me, okay? And that's also something that's overlooked. Oh, non-violence this, non-violence that. Okay, what about when someone comes knocking on your door? Because your practice of non-violence doesn't guarantee that people won't be violent towards you, and you need to know how to protect yourself. And the first step is being able to cultivate a mental, emotional, spiritual, and possibly physical foundation that ensures that if you are under attack at any point, you know how to respond in a way that still allows you to pursue your long-term goals and live out being hot and having fun. This is not achieved in the moment. I'm not here to give you some useless pep talk that's like, don't let people treat you like shit. You are an alpha, or like you are a baddie and you shouldn't let anyone walk all over you, because that doesn't actually help you, okay? You might feel good in the moment watching this video, but you need to actually put this into practice. That's why I have Hot Girl Habits video, how to be confident and unbothered video, because you need to have actual practices. You need to learn to be aware of your feelings, to identify them, to accept them, to take action in processing them so that you feel centered in who you are and you can kind of observe your emotions rather than being swung along with them, okay? I'm a naturally very emotional person. I'm in a Pisces moon. It's like a nightmare inside of my mind. But with these practices, I've been able to observe my emotion and to just embrace them and to allow myself to feel them and to crash out where necessary, instead of feeling like, oh, I shouldn't feel something or I need this other person to validate them. I can validate my own feelings and I can process them on my own, and I don't seek to make other people responsible for them. Instead, I want to create positive emotional experiences with the people that I love and care about. You don't wait to be triggered. You live a lifestyle and you have a set of practices in place that allows you to be prepared for when you are triggered by someone to respond accordingly. You want to be able to be in a constant process of noticing your thoughts, noticing your feelings in a non-judgmental way, so that when you do experience a really intense emotion, especially a negative one or an uncomfortable one, you aren't taken aback and you can still maintain enough distance that allows you to think strategically rather than to think emotionally. That's what being a baddie is all about. Always be prepared to walk away from a person, from a relationship, from a situation that doesn't make sense for you, okay? You're giving more than you're receiving. You're not being respected. This person drains energy from you instead of you two coming together and feeling like energized by this exchange. You feel depleted. These are all signs of you being in a unbalanced dynamic. And this could be in any context, okay? It could be a family context, a work context, romantic context, platonic context, and your bottom line is going to be different to my bottom line. Everyone's bottom line is different. You need to spend time with yourself and determine what makes sense for you. And sometimes there is a healthy compromise that you need to manage. It's not as simple as just cutting everybody off that causes you an uncomfortable emotion. It's about, again, understanding what your long-term goals are, what the theme of your life is, what the philosophy of your life is, the vibe you're trying to curate. Where can you make a compromise? Sometimes in family dynamics, this is really complex because there is like this feeling of duty towards certain members of your family. It's not as simple as just cutting them off, especially the older generation. Their idea and expression of love can be a little bit twisted. So for some people, it might mean that you can't cut off certain people, but you're just going to manage and redefine the way that you approach this relationship, because doing that also means that that other person has an opportunity to reflect on their behavior if there are consequences to it. This is really difficult. It's not a one-stop shop. It's not a overnight change. You have to be really consistent and stand your ground. And that can be really difficult and that can be really painful. But ultimately, if it's in service of your long-term vision of self, it's going to be worth it. Your long-term goals are constantly changing and shifting and evolving. Don't feel like this is a static process. It's definitely ongoing. Okay, maybe the vibe itself stays relatively consistent, but the practices that are required to maintain that, the people that facilitate that, the relationships, opportunities, the experiences that facilitate that are going to change and evolve as you change and evolve. Don't wait for other people to validate you in order for you to feel like your emotions are valid. You get to validate yourself, and it's okay to crash out in private. Crashing out in public, not always the best move, in my opinion. Crashing out in private, we love that, okay? It's not the absence of emotion. It's not the absence of uncomfortable feelings. It's your ability to process and to choose when and how you do so, okay? You don't have to do it in the moment of confrontation or conflict. You can take a step back, process, crash out as needed, and then decide how you want to move forward with this relationship or this experience. And that takes time. So treat it like an experiment. Treat it like a training process. You're a baddie in training. You will always be a baddie in training, okay? The work is never done. But we're here to be hot and have fun, okay? So sending love and slay your way. Follow me on all the things. Let me know what you thought of this video in the comments. Send me your thoughts and feelings. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm so grateful for all the messages I receive from people telling me that they've been watching the YouTube or they've come from TikTok or wherever. It means so much to me. Yeah, drink lots of water. Tell your friends and family you love them. Go be a better person. I love you, and I'll speak to you soon. Mwah!